Hi everyone, it's a pleasure to participate in the second international conference about innovation in learning. My name is Matias Nol and I'm from the Instituto Federal Goiano from Brazil, and I would like to present you my speech entitled Body Posture Assessment in the School Environment, Static and Dynamic Methods of Evaluation. In recent decades, the issue of spine disorders has become the cause of great concern both among the scientific community and public health organizations. Body posture adopted during the activities of daily living is considered an important factor associated with spinal health. Body posture during the activities of daily living influence the amount and load distribution on the musculoskeletal structures. Qualitative and quantitative, both postural evaluation procedures are used to identify spinal alteration or as well in treatment follow-up. These non-invasive procedures are used as an alternative to X-ray exams to detect spinal alteration in order to avoid the health risk associated with exposure to radiation. Qualitative procedures based on subjective observation of parts of the body in relation to their position in the space have some disadvantage, such as the absence of numbers that can be used to quantify the alteration and their progressions, and the fact they are dependent on the rater experience. From quantitative approach, the literature presents sophisticated techniques that make it possible to evaluate the body posture and execution of the activities of daily living such as kinematic, dynamometry, electromyography, and magnetic resonance. As you can see here, some examples. Moreover, another type of static evaluation is based on photography, or in other words, computer-based photogrammetry, which has been considered ideal for postural evaluation since it permits the recording of subject postural alteration. And here in this slide, some example of two methods. Left side from Furlaneto 2018, and right side the example from Smith study from 2008. However, teachers and health professionals who developed assessments in the school environment and do not have equipment and technology for the above techniques, as they are expensive, difficult to adapt to the school environment, and require specialized technicians for their operations. These facts This fact reinforces the importance of assessing dynamic posture in the school context. Wrote alternative methods which make it possible to evaluate students outside the laboratory environment. So this lecture aims to address important aspects related to the assessment of body posture in the school context, as well as presenting some instruments that allow it. We can assess body posture in the activity of daily living using two different instruments, questionnaires and activities daily living circuits. This is an example from a study from Cardon et al. That was published in 2000 that you can see in the pictures is a questionnaire proposed to evaluate body postures during some activities as carrying bags, carrying backpack, and sitting to execute some performance. We have also tried to develop a new instrument, the back pain and body posture evaluation instrument named BackPay for school-age children and have verified its validity and reproducibility. The BackPace was developed in 10 steps. First, field research conducted in two schools, which the aim was recording growth observation, the most practiced activities in the mode of execution by school-age children. Second, literature review, in which the object was to identify the most practiced activities and as well the mode of execution by the children. Third, a literature review in which the object was to identify the existing instrument for the evaluation of back pain, specifically for school age. And then, based on that, we draft the first version of the back pain questionnaire. And then, after that, three steps about the scientific content validity with based on 8 experts evaluation, and then the last two steps was the application of the back pain to a target group, in case 260 primary school children at two different times with 7-day interval. And we found from the 20 questions very good and good kappa coefficient. The BackPay questionnaire was developed based on field research and the content of other questionnaires used in several previous published studies. These questionnaires include questions first of all about name, weight, name of school, demographic questions, and also, as you can see here, for instance, questions about exercise, sport practice, time of sedentary behavior, and sitting time, posture in several sitting position, and at the end, back pain questions. And these back pain questions include questions about parents with history of back pain, and then specific about the students' presence of back pain, frequency of back pain, and intensity of back pain. The questionnaires have some advantages. Is an easy way to use and low-cost instrument that allow the possibility of self-report by those evaluated, and it's also possible to use it in studies that we aim to evaluate large populations. But on the other hand, uh, questionnaires present some disadvantage, as for example, this possibility of self-report can make it dependent on the perception and cognitive degree of the subject, especially if the subjects are children and adolescents. In view of these aspects, for children and adolescents, it is important beyond the questionnaire to carry out standardized and validated dynamic tests to evaluate body posture. So, assessing the body posture adopted by children, during dynamic activities has advantage over static postural evaluation as the latter does not provide sufficient information for the assessment of dynamic postures. Moreover, questionnaires are in general incapable of measuring the degree to which theoretical knowledge is incorporated into practice. Based on this context, we have developed a new instrument named the Layout for assessing dynamic posture. The short name is LADY, and we analyze the dynamic posture in the activities of daily living of children who are school age using digital recording. The LADY, this instrument, is designed to help health professionals interested in assessing body posture in 9 activities of daily life of children. We published this study in the Pediatric Physical Therapy Journal in 2016. Our instrument evaluates 9 activities of daily living as carrying bags, carrying a backpack, sitting at a desk to write, lifting up an object from the ground, carrying an object, sitting at a desk to use a portable computer, sit on a seat chair with no back support, sleeping, sitting at a desk to use a desktop computer. The evaluation is made according to criteria from biomechanical specifications found in the literature. This slide illustrates an image from the Lady Manual, which was produced to guide professionals in setup for the recording and using the instrument, and indicates also each position from the circuit. Here is an example from the evaluation. For example, pick up objects from the ground. On the left side, we have a reference image that should be the correct position, and you can check and make the score from this posture based on the video recording as presenting in this example. These facts emphasize the importance of evaluating dynamic posture in the school context by means of visual observation and or image recording because it permits the children who are school age to be evaluated outside the laboratory context. Therefore, the LADY constitutes a valid and reproducible instrument for the evaluation of dynamic posture in children who are school age, which is a low cost and applicable in the school context by any teaching professional, as long as the instructions for use are followed. At some dynamic tests present some advantages such as to evaluate movement execution, incorporation of theoretical knowledge into practice, less influence of the evaluated person perceptions. However, we should be attention with the validation and reproducibility scores from the instrument that you want to use to evaluate our students. Thank you so much for your attention, and now I'm completely available to answer some questions that you could have. And also, if you want, please feel free to send me some email. Thank you so much.